Welcome to the Feeling B2B show, a limited interview series of conversations with some of the top voices in the B2B marketing industry, brought to you by the fine folks at MarketingProfs B2B Forum. I'm Lee Odden, your host from TopRank Marketing, and I'm excited to kick off this series with none other than the godfather of content marketing himself, Joe Pulizzi. Joe is a longtime friend, fellow runner, and a serial entrepreneur, and I think someone that you could argue is probably the most passionate about the topic of content marketing in the industry. He's the founder of Content Marketing Institute, the organization behind the famous Content Marketing World Conference. He's also founder of the Tilt, the organization behind the Creator Economy Expo, and together with his amazing wife, Pam, is co-founder of The Orange Effect, a nonprofit focused on autism and research into speaking disorders. Welcome to Feeling B2B, Joe.
Lee, I am thrilled to be talking to you today. Thank you for having me. And anytime you want to talk B2B marketing, I'm ready for you. So bring it on.
What is it that you love most about B2B marketing?
I love B2B. I mean, first of all, I grew up in B2B marketing. I started in 2000 with Penton Media, which was all around B2B publishing and marketing. And I actually thought it was the best place to start versus consumer, because I really felt if we did marketing correctly, we published the right content to the right person and focus on their needs and pain points, we can truly make a difference in their lives. And I know that's kind of like fuzzy and feeling, and I know we're sort of talking about that, but I really do believe it. And I'm like, okay, who is that person you're really trying to talk to? What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? And can you deliver ongoing communications to them to not only help them in their jobs? And of course, that's what we're here. We're B2B talk, but you can also help them in their jobs and their lives at the same time. And of course, it's a little altruistic, but I certainly believe that's a possibility. And so I've made it a passion of mine for the last 25 years to focus on that. And I don't think B2B gets enough credit for innovation in marketing. And really, if you talk about, maybe you call it one-to-one marketing, like Peppers and Rogers used to call it, or integrated marketing communications from Don Schultz. But if you're talking about real, true content marketing programs over time, I think you'll find most of them have happened on the B2B side. Most people don't know that, because why would you know? You don't see them on newsstands. You don't see them on television. They're not big, flashy ads, but it's happening. And so a lot of that innovation in content marketing happened first on the B2B side and continues to happen.
Yeah, that is exciting. And you're right on that innovation point. And the great thing about it, of course, is that the sky's the limit in B2B. There's so much more opportunity because of longer sales cycles and so many other opportunities. Content marketing has become a very different thing since you founded Content Marketing Institute, and obviously in the last couple of years since you founded the Tilt. And I'm wondering what you feel is a lesson that you've learned in that experience that you've had that's still true today when it comes to content.
Well, one of the things that I keep preaching about content marketing and have for a long time, and people still aren't doing, which I hope they get to it. And I learned this lesson when I started at Penton Media. When I was in charge of a P&L, you had to come up with two ways to grow revenue. One was organic growth. So what are the employees you're going to use, the initiatives, the strategies, the money that you have to build your revenue lines from that standpoint. And then the other one was acquisitions. Can you go out and find somebody that's doing something so you don't have to spend 2 or 3 years, build it up. You can see results right now if you have the cash to do that. So when I talk to a lot of content marketing directors out there, VPs of marketing, I always say, look, we're always trying to do things organically. And we should. Absolutely. We've got wonderful, amazing people that understand B2B marketing. We want to do that when it comes to content marketing. But you also have to look at acquisition. So I want you as a content marketer to look at, okay, what are the blogs out there who are already targeting your audiences and already saying the things you want to say? Already built the audiences out there. What are the podcasts, the YouTube channels, the Twitch streams, whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter. But they're already there. Those audiences are built. Those content brands are already built. We need to look at those for opportunities, and those deals are happening right now. And I think there's a lot of marketers out there in executive positions that aren't thinking about, wow, I could go out and buy that blog, that podcast, that e-newsletter, instead of spending 3-4 years. It's tough. You know this, Lee. It's tough to build an audience today. So what's out there? There's a lot of amazing content creators and entrepreneurs out there that have already built these things that are maybe a little bit spent with the whole thing. They're looking for an exit. Well, you can be that savior to them and come in and say, look, we want to keep your thing going, but we want to invest in you as a content creator, or we want to take that audience off your hands, or we want to buy this for X amount of premium. And that's what I want content marketers to do. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the event as well, where there's an opportunity that still a lot of B2B companies haven't come around to.
You know, it reminds me of there's an expression in PR of borrow to build, right? Borrowing someone else's credibility to build your own. And you're talking about buy to build, right? Very interesting. Absolutely.
And it's so simple. We've been talking about this for 2 decades, and you get it right, because you work with senior marketers all the time, and they automatically think, what do we need to do? What do we need to create? And there's nothing wrong with that. We can create some amazing things, but if it's already created out there, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you wasting time for? Yeah. Do your competitive analysis, see what's already out there, and then if it doesn't work, go ahead and create your thing. Yeah. But look at both avenues.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's recent research from LinkedIn citing real-world events as one of the most effective current content marketing, B2B marketing tactics. And obviously, events have been incredibly successful for you. What would you say the connection is between real-world events and content?
If you want to truly make an impact in your industry and be the leading expert, events are one of the most powerful ways to do that. I would say in-person events and writing a book are probably 2 things that marketing departments aren't thinking enough about. And here's the truth when it comes to AI. You and I are spending a lot of time figuring out this whole AI and marketing thing today. What is going to distinguish you as an organization and an individual in the next 3 to 4 years, with everybody being able to produce content, is your interpersonal relationships and your interpersonal communication and your one-on-one interactions at events, and you getting up and speaking in front of people, and you as an organization putting on an event and being the thought leader over a particular area of expertise. I think it's a wonderful match if you're out there putting together a content marketing program and you have an e-newsletter or a content brand and you say, what's missing? How do I bring these buyers and sellers together and do so and not only raise up the industry's level, but raise your own brand up? Yeah. There's nothing better than putting on an in-person event. As you know, with Creator Economy Expo or Content Marketing World, I've done 30 events in my day, and there's always a next level to that. You don't realize it when you're putting on, you're getting ready for the event. But once you get those people in, you realize that, oh my gosh, this is going to affect our entire business. It takes them, if they're just a lead or a name in your database, it takes them to a next level. They will buy quicker. They stay longer as customers. You might be able to increase the yield. There's all sorts of marketing benefits to this, but it isn't easy to do. But if you really say, look, like in content marketing, we always say, okay, if you're going to do this, how do you become the leading informational expert in your niche? You have to consider an in-person event as part of that program.
Yeah, digital is exciting, but in person is powerful, right? At B2B Forum, speaking of events, you're going to be speaking about unconventional approaches to content marketing. Could you share one of those?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share as many tangible, unconventional content marketing approaches as possible. We talked about one, which is the idea of buying, and a lot of marketers don't understand. How do I actually go through the process of buying a content marketing program, if you will, buying a newsletter, buying a podcast? So we'll talk about that, and we'll unpack how you actually do that. I think some of the research that we've been finding at the Tilt, and I'm going to share as well, is less is more. I think a lot of marketers are mistaken out there in B2B where, I've got to be everywhere. I've got to be on LinkedIn. I got to do the newsletter. I got to be on the webinar series. I've got to do the book program. Those things are all good. But generally what happens is a B2B program will be jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to content marketing. They'll be like, we're sprinkling our content everywhere, but they actually don't build an audience in any one of those channels. So what we found out is, really focusing on one or two instead of the 12 or 13 is the way to go. So I'm going to talk about kind of how to right size your content marketing approach for winning. I think the last thing I want to talk about too, and I'll talk about many other things, but I think we've been talking about this forever, you and I, Lee, about the importance of email. But if you really go and you do an audit of most marketers, B2B marketers, email programs, they'll say, oh, we're getting a 4% open rate. We're getting an 8% open rate. We're getting a 12%. Or we've got a lot of promotions in our email, or we don't have a really good ongoing editorial strategy, or really doesn't make an impact in our customers, or nobody does email anymore, or it all goes to spam and who cares, and we want to be on social. All that stuff aside, email is still the most important channel because that is your first party data. Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, TikTok, YouTube can't take that away from you. That direct connection, that permission for them to say, I want you to contact me, company, brand. And if we get that permission, we have to be better about that. We have to do better with that information. And you have to create email communications that actually will make a difference in their lives. Yeah. So when you don't give me those low open rates, give me 20, 25, 30, 35, 40% open rates. Wow. And those things will really start to make a difference in your program. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to take your email more seriously as a core part of your entire content marketing program.
That's exciting. And I can't wait to see your session. So you've spoken at and attended quite a few, maybe all of the B2B Forum events. Yeah. Can you share a moment that really stands out for you personally that you've had at the event?
Well, what I love about MarketingProfs B2B is the best of the best B2B marketers are always there. Whether you run into yourself or Ann Hanley or Jay Bear, and you're walking through Andrew Davis, and I'm walking down the hall and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are my people. This is why I came up. Now, the content is first rate. It's always been first rate. The sponsors are wonderful. You always get, I always learn about a new technology or tool or whatever. But the best part about B2B is the relationships you leave with. And so there's always one or two or five or six people that I've just met there for the first time that I can take and we can grow some kind of relationship together. And you're not alone in B2B. And that's what's great is once you get on premises, you all realize that we're not really competing with each other, and we all have very similar problems. It's different than if you go to a very large event where who knows who's dealing with what. You go to a B2B marketing event like MarketingProfs B2B, we're all dealing with the same stuff. So I love that aspect of you're going to meet some real people, and it's going to make a difference in your life.
Yeah, it's definitely a community focused event. That's the feeling of community for sure. What would you say for this year? What are you looking forward to most at B2B Forum?
I got to tell you, I was a naysayer on the whole AI thing for a long, long time because I wanted to deny this. And now I've come to the point where this is an inevitable part of our job as B2B marketers to understand this, not only the impact that it's going to make in our business and our lives, but we really can use these tools. And it's going to be a differentiator for us as individuals in our career. So for the last 6 months, I've been going down rabbit holes to figure out what does AI in marketing mean? How do I need to use it responsibly? How do I need to train on that with my team and my colleagues? And I know a lot of the content at MarketingProfs B2B is going to be focused on that. And even in those sessions that aren't AI related, everybody seems to be touching on it these days, which I think we have to.
Yes.
The good part is if you talk to just regular human beings that aren't in B2B marketing right now, they don't really understand the impact that this is going to make on our society. So I think we have an opportunity to learn this stuff, to get ahead of it, and to understand, okay, how are we going to use this and how are we going to be good users of it, which may be the most important thing. Just because we can use it doesn't mean we should.
Right.
So we need to focus on how do we use it in a responsible way, and then we can teach other people how to use it. But if you're just selfish and you just want to be better in your career and you want to rise up the ladder, this is going to be great as well because you'll learn how to do that. But that's kind of what I'm most interested in. And I want to pick up on how some of the leaders in the industry are using this thing and what I can take from it and then share with my team.
Yeah, I love that attitude, love that perspective. I mean, it's a tool, right? And it reminds me of the early days of social media, only accelerated, and there's something I've always said, a tool is only as effective as the expertise of the person using it. And so we have an opportunity and an obligation, as you say, to learn about these tools and help others understand how it's going to impact them, because it's going to happen with or without us or anyone else, and things are moving forward. So there's a lot that I love that you brought attention to that, because there are a lot of sessions, there are a lot of opportunities for people to learn about, well, answering the question, what is Gen AI? What is AI? What does it mean to me as it relates to B2B? You're going to get answers about that at this event. So super. Thank you so much, Joe, for sharing. You can see and learn more from Joe and a whole host of other top B2B marketing experts at MarketingProfs B2B Forum 2023 in Boston or online. October 4th is when the workshops are happening. October 5th and 6th is when the main conference is happening. You can check out the full conference agenda, see who all the speakers are and all the other shenanigans that MarketingProfs is famous for organizing. But the website is mp2b.marketingprofs.com. And of course, I'll have that link in the show notes. Joe, where's the best place for, you're almost impossible not to find, but what's the best way for people to connect with you, to follow you?
Yeah, I'm at Joe Pulizzi, Pulizzi, everywhere on social media. JoePulizzi.com is the place to get information about me. And then we talked a little bit about the Tilt. That's sort of my current project right now. Go to thetilt.com and learn a little bit more about content creation specifically for the individual. But I'm happy and really excited to see you at MarketingProfs B2B and also to have everyone come to the session and we can talk about some of these unconventional approaches that I think are missed opportunities by a lot of companies.